Hi, so we're with Alistair Hill. You've just come out of Cash's second session.
Yeah.
How did you get on?
Yeah, I think today I sense Cash was more flowing in what he was saying. But it's, I think, also the second day of being the different setups. It's definitely
Bombarded you.
Bombarded, but I think I can see it's all crystallizing and the ideas, and I think the setups that I feel I'm going to use more, and the ones I recognise and I feel are stronger setups and higher probability. I'm getting a better feel of what's going to work for me, and the levels and the daily targets. Ultimately, I'm owning it now, and I feel it's everyone's obviously got their own targets, but I feel I know now better feel for what I feel is.
I mean, certainly from my point of view, I've fed this morning and yesterday morning off a lot of your questions. You were asking some very, very good questions for someone who's only just recently joined. Now, I think that's because you are from a banking environment. Tell us where you've come from.
Well, I guess I've had about 14, 15 years in the city, technology/business analyst, so a number of banks. I don't know whether I should say the names, but
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, I've worked at Deutsche, Goldman's, and a number of others.
So top echelon banks. Yeah.
So basically, having worked and been exposed to a lot of different instruments and supporting the dealing desk and working in development and in live environments, I guess I've had that added insight of, and I think now because I'm the other side of the fence, as it were, and I want to empower myself to take charge of my destiny. I wanted to utilise that time with you to pick your brains, to get your the inner workings of the market, because then the analogies that you discussed today, it's given me a better insight of strategizing and intuiting the market, such that, do I want to make an entry here, or is there something going on that I feel I want to stand out? So that I've found invaluable today.
Well, that's why I really fed off your questions, because you were talking about why do we get the overshoots of what are perceived to be good roadblocks in our grid. And I was explaining to you maybe how banks sometimes front run stop loss orders, and I could see you were sort of, right, a light's gone off. I can see why Armando waits and Cash sometimes waits to just see if it breaks a little bit beyond that level. Now, it's difficult skill because you never know when you're in no man's land how long to leave it.
Yeah.
But would you say you've had from my side, from the fundamental questions that you were asking, and then from both my and Cash's side, from the technical questions you were asking, you've had your questions answered?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I wanted to make the most of the 2 days, and thinking and following things through. And I've had 5 weeks, 6 weeks on the product before. So
you're probably one of the newest guys in this session.
So I've been sitting in the sessions, and I've traded demo, I've traded live on some setups. So
what's your favourite setup?
Favourite. I think it's actually probably a bit premature to actually have a favourite, but I would say I'm leaning, certainly vanilla breakouts are profitable.
Yeah.
Probably the bounces now. Yeah. I think everyone's
like the one we did yesterday.
Can hardly deny those ones. And from what I've seen, I'm actually, because I can actually spot the tripod, so I'm actually going to try those, even though Cash is saying they're one of the more difficult setups. But it's intriguing how everyone sees different setups and which ones they feel more. So just see how it goes.
I always think on the chat, and because I've not invented the tripod trade or the reverse vanilla trade, I'm almost more comfortable when I've got guys in there like the Cashes, the Wolverines, who are technicians in those two setups, to have them suggesting them so that I don't have to look for them.
Yeah.
Is that how the customers feel? You think they do generate much more confidence when they've got a moderator say, "Hey, we've just spotted a tripod."
I think in the early days for sure. And then I think what I feel I'm going to do is maybe just switch off the chat and actually trust. I think it's about trusting and owning the setups yourself. Because I think one of the things I was saying to you yesterday is I want to try and cut down some of that distraction and noise. And I don't want to be influenced because someone has commented on something. And so I think it's just learning to kind of fine tune and just focus. I think focus is very important.
Where are you going with this sort of longer term? Why are you in Forex? I mean, okay, you've been in a bank environment, so you're more likely to know more about it than others, but what do you want out of this at the moment?
For me, a balance to the other work I do.
So you're still working. It's not like you.
Well, I'm doing coaching work.
Right.
Sort of self-employed, doing that, and I've always had a sense I would be drawn somehow back into the financial industry, and after having left it for about 5-6 years, I didn't know how that would be, but it's almost like I was given a nudge in this direction, and I just knew when I kind of investigated and talked to you that there was something here to kind of worth, you know.
So, I mean, if you can, I know it's not always easy, particularly on camera, to expound on, you know, what you really feel under pressure. But I think you said something like, I could tell, you know, you seem to have a little bit more substance, a bit more integrity in terms of coming to us. Why did you pick us rather than another company? What made us stand out for you?
I think the fact that you're prepared to sit with us every day
on the chat,
regardless of obviously other kind of business, coming here to the course as well, and I think also the locations, but also I think just the research I've done into other products and strategies. It's hard to define, but they're just, I mean, intuitively I just have a good feeling on the integrity of the product versus what's out there. There's clarity and definition in what you're saying, and I feel for a lot of other products there's a lot of sales hype and sales copy on promises, and I think they're trying to attack the vulnerable part of the retail market, whereas I feel for you there's a lot more authenticity, I feel, about what your approach is about.
Michelle used the term trust, which was quite a big term to throw out in her testimony, or whatever you would call it, reference. We certainly want our clients to do well, because the whole company is built off clients doing well and then coming to us with further opportunities. The whole thing, the software itself, the sales guys. You've met, well, actually you haven't met JH because he went to Germany for the weekend, but which was very good of him. But the young guys we're bringing in have all been customers to start with. I mean, Skolk, who you've met, he's brought his whole life over from South Africa to London to not just, he already learnt the product, but he wants to now work with us and help, trade accounts for us. So it's very important for the talented people come, learn the product, and then feel that they can do something more with it, possibly within the business as well. Now, obviously you're the sort of guy who, may or may not want to do that, but that's where we feel, hopefully we do stand out from others, because people can see it is quite a big community now, and on the chat, everyone really does try to help other people, because they know at any minute someone might just spot something that's going to help them. So I think, though I understand where you say sometimes you feel like turning the chat off and being focused, I do think also you need it on as well to a degree.
Yes.
So what's your plan then? You're going to be, you're trading a little bit live. When are you going to really push the button on that?
I would say pretty soon. Given that I've only been using it for 5-6 weeks in the course now, but pretty much I want to go away, take away, recap within the next week or so. Definitely kind of, start trading, setting defined daily targets, monthly targets.
And are you doing the London session and the New York session, or are you going to limit that? You're going to do both London and New York, and then if you get to your target, finish? Or stay on
we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, I have a feeling I know this is going to work for me.
Right.
I guess I'm prepared to put the effort and the time into this. I think there's a lot out there that says Forex is easy. And it's not. It's but like with anything, I do feel you need to put the effort into it and the time and the discipline. And I feel with this, something I'm prepared to do. I mean, for me, this is a long-term thing. I'm not looking to I'm not aiming for 6 months to make $1 million, and that'd be great. But to me, it's a long-term.
It's cash flow.
Yes, I can see myself continuing my other vocation, but I think there's a lot of flexibility. Thank you.
Thanks, Alistair.
Cheers, Andy.
See you on the chat.